Drive to Survive Season 4 is right around the corner, so here's my prediction for 10 storylines from the 2021 season that they'll cover in the show. The first storyline that I think they're going to cover is George Russell's move to Mercedes. I think they'll probably throw in a fake Bottas versus Russell storyline in here based entirely on that crash they had in Imola. Now, I actually have a theory for how they're going to cover this, and I think that they're going to use footage from the Secure Grand Prix from 2020 and work that into the storyline. I think that's why they held off on using the footage from that race. They'll definitely cover that period of time in the middle of the season where he had points in Hungary, Spa, and Monza, and I think they'll also cover his incredible qualifying performance in Spa. I think they'll also show George crying in the press interview in Hungary. Bless his heart. The number one thing I want to know, though, is when did he sign that contract? The second storyline that I think they're going to cover is the Alpine wholesomeness. I absolutely loved the dynamic in 2021 between Ocon and Fernando. The amount of teamwork that those two showed was something that was entirely unexpected. We will 150% see Nando's defense on Hamilton securing Ocon the win in Hungary. And I'm hoping we'll also get to see Fernando telling Esteban to defend like a lion in Qatar. One thing that I'm really curious about is if they're going to cover Cyril leaving. The third storyline that I think they're going to cover is the rise and fall of Lando. They're definitely going to focus on his success in the first half of the season and probably pair it with some of Ricciardo's struggles. I'm sure they'll show a little bit of his Monaco podium, his Imola podium, and his Austria podium. They have to involve Zach Brown somehow. And then, of course, we're going to see the Russian GP and the pain that it caused me and everyone else when he slid off the track because he didn't put on inters. I will experience depression all over again. And one thing I have noticed is that Drive to Survive has about 4 storylines that have continued through the first 3 seasons. They will likely continue these in some way just to maintain consistency and keep the fans happy. The first storyline they're going to continue is obviously Daniel Ricciardo and his journey to finding his team in Formula One. We're going to have Daniel's struggles joining McLaren, and I've heard some rumors of some quite spicy behind-the-scenes footage from Portugal. As I said, they'll likely cut his struggles with Lando's success. The thing that's going to hurt me the most is him being passed by Lando in Monaco. I'm sure they're going to show that. They're also definitely going to show Daniel sitting on his tire in Hungary, just looking so downtrodden. And then we're going to get the Monza 1-2. And I'm so excited for this. I hope they do it justice, because if they don't, I'm going to be so disappointed, because I've been waiting for this episode since they said that Netflix was following McLaren at this race. Next storyline that I think Netflix is going to focus on is Carlos Sainz in whatever fake rivalry they decide to put him in this year. Based on this year, it's probably going to be Charles. I feel like they're going to want to set that up for when there's inevitably more drama coming next year. They'll likely focus on the number of podiums that Carlos got and the fact that he was able to pass Charles in the last race of the season. I think they'll definitely show Charles crashing in Monaco again and not getting the start on pole, and then cutting this with Carlos managing to get a podium there. The third storyline that they're going to want to continue from the first 3 seasons is Pierre. Pierre has the best storyline from the first 3 seasons, bar none. Even though Pierre didn't really have a huge moment in 2021, I'm sure they'll want to continue this storyline, as next year he's likely going to have to choose where he wants his future to be in Formula One. I'm hoping they might show his podium in Baku and his battle with Charles for that 3rd place. And the 4th storyline they're going to want to continue from the first 3 seasons is Haas just being an absolute disaster. They need those memes. I'm hoping they show some good Mick times with his dog, and unfortunately there's going to be some Mazepin behind the scenes, which I am not excited about at all. I'm really hoping that this episode gives some insight into why they hate each other so much. And also we might see Gunter Steiner climbing a mountain. I'm sure we'll just see Gunter Steiner being hilarious in general and Gene Haas just being constantly grumpy. And I think they're going to have 3 episodes dedicated to the championship fight. In one of the episodes, I think they're going to use Christian Horner and Toto Wolff to kind of frame the episode, or as I like to call it, Horny Spice versus Mr. Wolf. I think the episode they might do this with is around the British GP. I'm sure they'll show a lot of back and forth bickering between the two and Christian Horner one-liners. I think they might work in some Gary Halliwell and Susie Wolf content. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. And I think they'll have another episode for the Red Bull versus Mercedes battle, but this one focused more on Lewis versus Max. I think it'll probably focus more on the Lewis side, obviously, since Max has decided he doesn't want to take part in Drive to Survive. I'm hoping for a little bit more behind the scenes with Lewis. I think that's always very interesting. And I'm really curious how they will frame Max. Will they frame him as the villain because he hasn't provided any interviews? And how will they use the content that they do have to frame Max's side of this rivalry? I'm guessing this might be the second to last episode where they show Max gaining his lead in the championship and then Lewis having to battle back. And I'm really hoping that they show the Brazil GP. I'm sure they'll use footage from the Britain, Monza, and Saudi Arabia crashes. I think the Saudi Arabia footage might be worked into the final episode, which 100% is going to factor around Abu Dhabi. I am so curious what footage they got of everything that happened in that last race. This is once again going to open a huge can of worms and Twitter is going to get out of control, but we need to know. The people need to know. I'm extremely curious how they're going to frame this episode. Will they make it dramatic and focus on how it was a one-lap shootout for the championship? Or are they going to focus on how much Massey screwed up this race? There really isn't very much info about these last 2 episodes of the season, so I'm really excited to see what happens. Anyways, that's it for this one. Comment down below with some of your predictions for what's going to happen in Season 4 of Drive to Survive. Give this video a like and subscribe if you would like to get more content from me over the course of the 2022 F1 season.